Next step over.
Hello, and welcome to On Good Faith, a program sponsored by the Cape Cod Council of Churches. I am Jonathan Ahnquist, the pastor of First Lutheran Church in West Barnstable, one of the Council's member church bodies. It is my pleasure to serve as your host today for On Good Faith's look at ecumenical efforts in the Christian community to do ministry together. Today's program title, How the Ecumenical Approach is Successful in Chatham. It is a hopeful message. It's a hopeful message especially in our times where mainline Western Protestantism is declining, many say, and dividing. Roman Catholicism and Eastern Orthodoxy has problems too. Ecumenism's its fires burn rather low, and it shows signs of a cultural captivity in some places and internal disputes. It is good, then, to have our guests who will put a light of positive fire in the ecumenical story, and especially the success of the story in Chatham. Welcome to our guests, Amy Middleton, the Director of Christian Education at First Congregational Church of Chatham, and Eileen Bendis, of Ministry of Children, Youth, and Families at St. Christopher's Episcopal Church, also in Chatham. Ladies, it's up to you. Tell us how the ecumenical story works for you in Chatham, the story.
Why don't you begin?
Okay. Well, we should say that there's been a rich history of an ecumenical effort in Chatham. There's an established Chatham Clergy Association that meets monthly, I believe.
That's right.
And there are several services that we do together, the Thanksgiving service, Holy Week, and all the beach services. And then we have traditionally worked together on Vacation Bible School over the years.
When you say we there, you're talking about more than just your two parishes.
Yes.
You're talking about all of the...
Yep. Basically, it's all of the churches that line up on Main Street in Chatham, and also First Light, which is on 137.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's where we've started from. And Eileen and I started working together on Vacation Bible School 6 years ago, and our relationship has developed and grown over the years.
What produced that first connection with the Vacation Bible School program?
That was already established. So for years, those Main Street churches were doing Vacation Bible School. So I had come into the position new, and Eileen was director at her church. And together we worked on that project. And at that point, we were sharing spaces. We still rotate where we have Vacation Bible School. Yes, sometimes it's at our church or at yours. At that time, it was at the Methodist Church.
But how many churches are involved now in this last summer in the Vacation Bible School program? What was it? More than two? Was it 4 or 5 churches?
No, it was primarily St. Christopher's Church and the First Congregational Church.
Well, that sounds like it was going before this Vacation Bible School program, and now it's not simply, but vitally an Episcopal church and a Congregational church doing that work together, but other people from other congregations come to Vacation Bible School.
That's
right.
Correct.
Yes, from different denominations.
Beautiful.
And from different communities. We have so many children that are here visiting for the summer that come for that week.
Well, that's an exciting place to start. And has it grown for both the Episcopal Church and the Congregational Church for more than the VBS connection you have? What other connections?
Well, the other connections we have are, first of all, let me go back and say that it's really been a need basis. Vacation Bible School, Amy and I needed to pulled together because some of the other churches at that point, because it's cyclical, where you have your children, you might have a lot of little ones, and then you don't. So we pulled together because we did have the enrollment, and our friendship has grown. Where we are spiritually, we complement one another, and we're mentors to each other. And so out of all of that, when we started the Vacation Bible School together, we certainly branch out to everyone in the community, all churches, parents, to get involved with us. And Amy and I call it getting on the rocket ship ride, because we like to think outside the box. And we do. And how do we make it such a memory moment for those kids that they can't wait to come back? So here's the scene last summer. Children are dragging their parents up the sidewalk. Hurry up, we don't want to be late for the opening. And we had nearly 100 children, and it grows every year. People call us from Texas, from wherever, that are coming for Vacation Bible School. They run their vacation time just so that they can come for this incredible week. And it's all denominations.
That's wonderful. Your relationship, Eileen and Amy, started before you both had the positions you hold?
No, that's where we met at Vacation Bible School. I was really in the thick of that at that time. It was I think the theme was the Olympics. So I was out there running like crazy.
Tell me what to do. I'm a newbie.
And she had her little ones were little. And so I think I was a teacher then as well. And we just kept saying, what could we do next year? I want to get on board next year. And it's the enthusiasm, it's the energy that we both, we thrive on that. And
that moment, the event of the Vacation Bible School, seems like the core of your relationship.
It is.
Now, from the core, other things are happening, and what?
Oh, yes. It's grown organically. And based on the need to, as Amy had said earlier, it's very lonely, and it's not necessary to do all this youth work by yourself in your little church. It's as simple as, for us, looking across the street and who's over there and what are they doing. And so what grew out of that was, I think the first thing we'll say is Vacation Bible School, because of the age. Sunday school started to grow.
We saw that Vacation Bible School was such a strong point in both of our ministries, and we looked at that. Why is it so strong? And one of the things was this partnership that we had. And another thing that came out of that was that during Vacation Bible School, the teachers teach a workshop based on their gifts, and so they're teaching something that comes natural to them, that they love, and the children respond to that, and they're happy and they feel fulfilled teaching because they're doing something they love to do. And so together we decided to work on Sunday school.
The whole Sunday school.
Yeah. Well, we have it in our separate buildings, but
we pour ourselves into the whole week of Vacation Bible School. I mean, we're talking months of preparation and planning. I mean, artwork, staging, making this.
Do you use your own material, or do you buy a lot of?
We buy a curriculum.
We buy a curriculum,
which is fine.
Right, and then we add to it. And we add
and we take away from it because they tend to overload you. I mean, they'd have to be there from morning to midnight to do everything that's in there.
But the parents came to us and said, I'll never forget this, after you go through this event of a whole week, you are exhausted. We usually take days off afterwards. This is so fantastic. If only you two could do Sunday school like this, or if you could have Vacation Bible School all year. And we thought, there There's no way.
There's not enough energy.
And we just shelved that. Well,
Right.
you know, that percolated in our minds. And we would talk about our Sunday school programs and what are you doing and what am I doing? And we would kind of share little ideas with each other.
We'd meet quarterly, and we had like an event each quarter. The Halloween, we have a Halloween party
the
together.
two churches, you two as leaders, would meet quarterly to do something together.
We'd look at our calendar and say, what do you have going on? This is what I've got going on.
Right.
Let's try and do something
Together
so that those kids who were at VBS together and who see each other at school can reunite. And so we have a community Halloween party we do.
Right.
And we were the Shrove Tuesday.
Right, which we turned into a Mardi Gras, which was a pancake breakfast.
The young people must really hope for seeing their friends again
They
from
do.
the other churches. That's a very vital...
And that's where you see the attendance go up.
Right.
Now, it's not always about numbers. It isn't for us.
Right.
But the common sense says there's only so many children in our town.
Right.
They all go to school together. The parents, some parents choose to worship at the Episcopal Church and others at First Congregational. But the message to the children is the basic message, Bible stories. God loves you. How do you learn from that Bible story through, and memories that it's, if you talk to an adult and you say, tell me about Sunday school, when they have great memories, they're probably involved in church today.
Right.
So our job is to create this and to, you know, Amy and I always say that children, they have, God has planted that seed, that spiritual seed in them. So our job is to water it, that maybe it'll take root. Now, as it grows, wherever you land in your journey, in your faith journey, wherever you worship as an adult, find your spiritual home. That's fine with us. That's why we don't compete. We're not competing for numbers. But we want our kids, our parish families, our church families, when they're together, they say, wow, you're learning the same thing I am, and it strengthens their spiritual growth because they're in school together, they're in scouts together, they're in dance class together. So why not be in Sunday school?
And likewise, it's nice, Eileen's children have come over and experienced our worship service outside of Sunday school. They've come to an intergenerational worship service. Our children have gone to St. Christopher's and experienced their worship service. And I think as much as seeing the similarities, seeing the differences are a wonderful thing too.
And what you said before about the core that you have there is, you know, our baptism is that core. The baptism, whichever Christian church you're baptized in, you're baptized into to God's family, and that unity is beautiful when we can see it in a variety of different ways and places.
Exactly.
And that's an exciting story that you tell. And you got kind of excited about as you were telling it. Now, when you talk about it's not a competition, sometimes I've been aware that when people of different parishes get together for events, there's an underlying fear that, ooh, are my kids going to really like that other church? And maybe we'll lose a family.
Right.
Does that play into any of your planning or any of your, how does that play in your successful ecumenical story?
There is no competition that way. And I can say that based on Amy's pastor, Reverend Erickson, and our Reverend Brian McGurk. They are so supportive of each of us for what we do. And our churches are so supportive of me working with Amy and vice versa. When we bring all of our children together, instead of maybe me having 18 that Sunday, I have 30 because I have Amy's children. They're all coming in. They see that these children are learning about God's love. They see that families are nurturing and bringing them into a faith-based worship service. And so they only celebrate that. So we are across the street. So yes, you know, families might switch.
Right.
That does happen on occasion, but it's your spiritual home, and that's the most important thing.
And your overriding mission has to be creating these wonderful memories in these children's life. Teaching them the Bible stories. It can't be on numbers. You know, if your head gets into the numbers, well, I might lose someone to Eileen. You have to be spiritually secure. Check your ego at the door.
Right.
And we have a lot of trust in each other. And it just, you know, I think that's an important component.
And that sense of real hope for your program to be able to plant and nurture the seed in the young person in whatever faith tradition they came from, but they can have that seed of holy baptism nurtured in a fellowship at the Episcopal Church or the Congregational Church, and it's the same seed and the same growth and the same message of God's love. That's exciting, and I think what's important that you two have such a positive relationship. With your relationship, without that relationship in your two leadership positions, it'd be more difficult, would it not?
It would.
And you expressed to your pastors very positive about the experience. I think you need a lot of puzzle pieces to fit together for the ecumenical effort to be really fruitful. Because with you two, a positive relationship and not a competition, and the pastors, a positive relationship, positive look at the experience and not a competition. How does that come to be? Where do you get that place to start?
Well, I think there's definitely an openness there. That I believe both of our congregations and our churches are very open to new possibilities. We'll try out something different at worship or a different way of doing Sunday school, and I have to say they're very open to it, and that's a big part of it.
We the need is supporting the children in the community. That's the need, and so we do that through Sunday school. We do that through. Now, Amy and I are working on, I mean, we have so many aha moments. I mean, we just had one in the car coming over here. Because one aha moment was we sat down and we do a yearly calendar for the Sunday school. What are we doing? Our calendars are based the same. There's the similarities in that with the church calendar.
Lectionary.
Same lectionary. So we went through, and we have used different curriculum in the past, and I did Godly Play for a long time, which was wonderful. Introduced that to Amy. And she's, we have now, we're doing the rotation workshop, which is www.rotation.org.
Yeah.
And it is open to, I would say mostly it's all Protestant churches, but there are hundreds.
That's
and
an ecumenical grassroots movement, is truly what it is. Where Christian educators from all over the world and different denominations write in their ideas for specific Sunday school lessons. So it really does away with paper curriculum, you know, and it's all organized by, there might be an art workshop. They spend about a month on a particular story, so they might do Jonah for a month. One group might be baking whale cookies and hearing the story of Jonah, then they might do a drama of it, or they might do music. And so we were doing that, and we got together and looked at our lectionary, and we thought, why aren't we doing this together?
The same stories.
We have a great library that was established in our church of both children's books and movies. Eileen has the Godly Play series, so we can share these resources and ideas, and it also generates, you know, sometimes in our job you can get a little slumped, and so, you know, it generates this creative, fun spirit. We can have fun together, collaborating on, you know, dreaming up, getting on that rocket ship ride and dreaming up new things for them to do.
When you talk about the excitement of generating new excitement, I feel it here, okay? What about your teachers? I mean, you're not the head of the whole Sunday school program. You probably are, but as far as teaching each Sunday school class, you're not doing that.
No.
I mean, the feeling of, the vital feeling that I feel fresh from you both together is also in your teachers.
Yes.
That's beautiful. How does that just kind of works its way down?
No, we are professional cheerleaders. You really, we believe in what we do, and it is not about us. It's about the children, and it's about the whole God's work.
Yeah.
That's our ministry. It's not a job for us. It's a ministry for us. So
and you get to know your teachers. So,
Right.
like, I know a specific teacher loves to garden, and I'll call her up and say, could you do a gardening workshop based on the 23rd Psalm? And she's like, wow, I'd love to do that, because she's teaching something that is her passion.
her gift.
Yes.
We try to we match the gift up with what needs to be done on Sunday, and it's a short term. You know, there is no such thing anymore as teaching the same teacher every Sunday for the whole year. It's impossible. I mean, it's a different world. So we've had to adjust to that.
And that's, I think, very true when we talk about Sunday school and I think youth work in the church. It used to be the feeling where you had them in kindergarten, you moved them through Sunday school, they went through high school, and it stayed there.
Right.
That's not the case anymore.
Right.
No.
How are you working with your teenagers?
Well, we're actually now working ecumenically with our youth as well. Both St. Christopher's and the First Congregational Church use the Journey to Adulthood confirmation program and curriculum. And so at the beginning, well, let's see, and it must have been it was in October, we took the youth on a spiritual pilgrimage out on Lighthouse Beach, and we read Bible verses as we went through town that related to certain spots. And once again, just like with the small children, the teenagers so respond to being able to see their friends that they normally see at school, and having a bigger group than just the spotlight on a few. And then Eileen has a wonderful Faith in Action.
And I can give you a little history on that.
Yeah.
It really started 7 years ago at the Congregational Church. There was a lovely woman, Patty, who had teenagers, and her son was one of those. There was a need to develop a youth program at the time. So I went over and helped. And one thing led to another, and I said, well, why don't you come over to our church, because we have this great big kitchen. And at the time, the Congregational Church didn't have that. And I said, yeah, I'm comfortable in the kitchen. I don't know if I'm comfortable with teaching teenagers. I can do the small children, but I love to cook. So let's get them in the kitchen, and we'll make our own pizza night. Well, the numbers went from maybe 8 kids to 15.
Yeah.
I mean, we were shocked. The kids had so much fun, and then we realized a ministry has been born here in this kitchen. So we developed a program called Faith in Action. And the teenagers come and they cook. I have different chefs come in and help. And we prepare a meal from scratch. So we're teaching them a skill on how to cook, how to get along together in the kitchen.
Where are they serving this?
So what they do is we call people in town. I have a whole system, and you probably don't need to go into that now. We have about 70 people on our list, and they can be people from both of our churches and just the town, your neighbor.
So our visitation ministry might feed Eileen some names of people who could use a meal. Yeah.
So we
either as a celebration, like a new baby, or if they haven't been able to get out.
Yeah.
So we prepare these meals, we have them in the bags, and when the parents come to pick up their child, they drive the child to this particular name on the bag, and the child brings in the food to that individual and spends time with them.
That's wonderful. That's a beautiful story, and it's a wonderful ministry that the youth are doing that. The youth are bringing the food too.
Yes, the youth and their families.
That's the magic.
And
the youth bring it to the individual.